That's right back, Charlie. That's right.
Because he always used to act when defending. I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian.
Come on. And with an introduction like that, what more is there to be said? I've got a special guest. Saeed's in the building. Make sure you're subscribed to the guy. Journey to 100K has been touching distance. Every little helps. Make sure you're doing all of that. How you doing, my bro? You good?
Yeah, man, I'm blessed, man. Thanks for having me on, bro. It's been a while, but yeah, man, good to chop it up again, bro. Hope you're well,
Come on,
man.
my guy. Come on, I'm good, man, and appreciate you because you always got time for the guy. And obviously, thank you for blessing me with your presence here, man. I'm probably gonna wipe that smile off your face because obviously we got to speak about the club with the badge in front of you, man. My first question for you, like, let's just address the elephant in the room because rightly so, you know, you gave Ten Hag all the time in the world. You was backing the thing. And obviously, you know, you can only comment on what's in front of you. Results haven't gone your way. I've seen your content and you're quite critical of him. So what's gone wrong, man? Why specifically has he lost your support? Why don't you think he's the guy? Let us have it, man.
Yeah, no, listen, man. It was my guy, but I feel like for me, he's lost his ways, man. I feel like ultimately, you know, I can only back what I see in it. I think the first season, I think everyone was behind him. Everyone was like, you know what? He's got the first season, got third in a trophy. You kind of say to yourself, you know what? That's a very good first season. But I feel like for me, you need to kick on in it. And I feel like the football this season hasn't been any great. We've been getting by teams. We've been getting beat 3-4 nils, whatever you want to call it. Like, it's not been great in it. And I feel like the second season is where you really kind of like have to improve your identity of your squad in it and what you kind of shape in your team. And we haven't done that, bro. And the football, I'm sure you've seen it, isn't great. We're scraping past teams. You know, the signings have not been great. I feel like his philosophy is a bit, we don't know really what it is. I feel like there's so much kind of like, you know, it's an identity crisis for me. And when I see that, and I don't really kind of I don't do blind faith. So that's where my head was at, where my, yeah. So I was like saying to myself, hold on a minute, what am I really watching? What am I really backing? And it just got to the point where I was like, you know what? We move. And then obviously the Man City game was a kind of final straw for me. I was like, yo, in a Manchester derby again, you're just getting 3-0, and it's just like it's okay. Like, it's okay for that to happen again. I was like, nah. You know what I mean? A few players have fallen out with the manager. You know what I mean? He doesn't seem to get across his message onto the team. You know, his signings that he's bought are on the bench. You know, there's so much things that are going wrong. But now the players that we were meant to sell in the summer are now bailing him out. It's like everything doesn't add up for me, in my own humble opinion. But yeah, man, it's just got to the point now where I think for me, enough is enough, and we need a change. I know that bringing another manager doesn't solve anything, but it solves what we're seeing right now in terms of A, having a style of play, B, knowing where we're going, and C, just in general improvements. Like, you shouldn't always regress. There's no need for this kind of situation to happen. Like, we should have moved on. And yes, the table may say we're in form, etc., and we're whereabouts where to be, but you know what I mean? Like, it's not sustainable for me. And I think we'll get found out, but listen, time will tell, innit? Time will tell.
I mean, you've covered vaguely all the points I wanted to address, man. So we're gonna go through all of this, man. The first thing I want to ask you, because you made an interesting point. Obviously, when Ten Hag walked through the door, you know, everyone showed the clips of him working with Pep at Bayern. Obviously, he's a Dutch man. You want to see certain football. Why do you think he's abandoned those principles, or better yet, why do you think there's a lack of style? Because if he left tomorrow, I couldn't tell you Manchester United's style of play as a casual. You look at, I don't want to praise them, look down the road, but Postecoglou's been there 2 minutes and you can kind of see what he's doing. He's even had some players that Spurs fans would want gone playing well. So why do you think he's abandoned his principles, or there's a lack of play? I know there's injuries and stuff like that, but yeah man, surely that's the minimum.
Nah, listen, injuries are part of football, isn't it? Like, if we cry about injuries all the time, you know what I mean, we're not going to be really doing anything. So injuries are part and parcel. My thing is, I feel like he's playing towards certain players in the team, like Rashford and Bruno. I feel like there's a favoritism for them too. I feel like he can't play the way maybe he played at Ajax. He come out and said, I can't play the Ajax way with these players. And I'm like, hold on a minute. You don't abandon your principles for certain players, innit? You either implement implement what you're trying to do, or you leave in it, because
Yeah,
that's
in
what we
trouble.
kind of
Yeah,
wanted you for. We don't want the whole Ajax, but we want a bit of it. We want to see what your style of play is and what your philosophy from what you had over there to here. You know what I mean? The type of football you play, the intricacies. We want to see that. And you know what I mean? He's saying that basically he can't really do it. And I'm like, well, we could have easily kept Ollie. And that if you looked at
if
Ollie's
that's the
football and
case,
Ten
yeah.
Hag's football, it's literally an improvement by a little bit, not a whole load of improvement. You know what I mean? So I feel like for me, Ten Hag has as a man in his principles. He knows that as well. He's a stubborn manager as well. That's one thing as well. He doesn't. He always wants to be right. You know, he called out Varane. He called out so many players. Like he feels like for me, it's got to a point now where it's results based for him only. Like the flair and the way we play football, he kind
That's
of really
secondary. Yeah,
you know, for him, it's about results. And although that's true, and although it's a results based business, also you got to remember, like, we want a style as well. We want to see good
yeah,
football.
Man
Like
United.
everyone else. Yeah, if we're seeing it from Tottenham, you know, we got to see it from other teams. And I feel like that's where my head is at. This season was meant to be the season where we bridge that gap and we say, right, we're going to see entertaining football. We might not be chasing the title, but we're seeing entertaining football. And we're not seeing that yet. And this is the same reasons where everyone wanted Mourinho out. They wanted so many other managers out. Van Gaal, they said the football wasn't great. So why change your energy now for Ten Hag? That shouldn't be the case.
You're right.
So that's where my kind of, you know what I mean, in terms of Ten Hag, he's abandoned his principles. And now he's like saying, you know what? I'll just play it as I go along. That's what we're doing at the minute. It is literally the football. There's no substance to it. It's literally we win the game 1-0, we move. Like it's always like we got through it though. We got through it though. And I'm like, how many times can you just keep saying that? We got through it. Like
Reminds me of
you
us
gotta be
under Emery
confident.
with them comments there.
Yeah, literally. It's mad, isn't it, when you think about it?
It is, fam.
So it's crazy.
Do you think he's cutting excuses then? Because obviously we just talked about Postecoglou. I do think while Mikel Arteta hasn't necessarily achieved anything at Arsenal, I think if you go back a few years, it was evident to see kind of what he wanted to do. Now he obviously he had Mustafi and Socrates, and he would try and play certain ways, and there'll be frailties. I can't say that's the case with Manchester United. And as much as I agree with some of the things loosely that Ten Hag says, I'm not being funny, but you know, as frustrating as Bruno might be, there's not too many managers that wouldn't have him. You've got Casemiro, you've got Eriksen, you've got all of these guys, and indirectly you've brought these players in. So do you think it's excuses and it's just a man that ultimately just doesn't know what he's doing now?
Yeah, you know what it is? I think in his head, obviously, he thinks he knows what he's doing when he keeps ostracizing certain players and he keeps, playing certain players in the team, McTominay, etc., etc. He feels like he's creating a sense of competition, but in reality, you can't be doing that, man. Yeah, I mean, you've got to know what your best team is. You've got to keep your leaders in there. You've got to keep the dressing room in terms of mentality. You've got to keep them players in there happy as well. And I'm not saying player power should be happening, but you know, I look at it and think, why did you buy Mason Mount? Why did you buy Amrabat now? All of a sudden, he's not your guy. What, Antony now all of a sudden is looking like he's lost out there. There's so many question marks. Why did you buy Onana, but then you don't want to play out from the back? There's so many situations where you're looking at why did you bring in Hoyland, but then we're not playing to his attributes and his style of play. What all of these kind of like these things that are meant to be making us better. Why has it become worse? Why
More
is it
questions than
the
answers.
front three? Yeah, more question answers. Why is the front three got only one goal in the Premier League? There's so many things that I can talk about.
I
And it's
didn't
like
even know that. I
these are
thought only
things.
Rashford had
Yeah,
one. Bloody hell.
yeah. Literally, Rashford got one against Arsenal, and that was the
Yeah.
only attacker that scored this season. Everyone else has been midfielders, defenders, etc. And there's been one goals here and there, so it's not as if we could have spread the goals. So that's where I feel like it's coming from, and I feel like ultimately Ten Hag at the minute is kind of playing it as he goes along. We get through Everton, but now you're gonna get exposed because there's gonna be games coming thick and fast. So you need to
December's
kind of
peak
like,
for everyone, yeah.
December's peak for everyone. So you lose one game and yeah, I mean, like you've lost your head. So you kind of like need to have that. This is why your style of play is so important because you always have the baseline of what you're trying to do. You have the foundations of what
Your
you're trying to
principles.
build.
That's what you should be
Yeah,
stubborn in because you mentioned him being stubborn.
yeah, you should be stubborn in these kind of situations because they're the ones that will keep you in check. But all of these situations where Ten Hag, this and you're trying to do this, come on, man, it won't work for you. You know what I mean? You're not that guy for that situation. So, yeah, man, I think for me, can he turn it around? I think the league is unforgiving, man, because you got to remember it's so hard. Last year, everyone fell off. You had
Yeah,
Chelsea falling off, you had Liverpool falling off. Like teams fell off, and it was like even
and
Man City,
everyone's
a
hitting
few
back
games were
now.
here and there. Yeah, now everyone's kind of like leveled back up now to the point now where you've got to be like on point. Like every drop point is a big one. So this is where the pressure even becomes more intensified. Level of scrutiny becomes even more heavier. Like it needs to be on point this season. Like last season, I feel like everyone gave us credit for finishing third, but it was like one of them where, right, okay, let's see where you do next season. Let's see where you really are. You know, the ones there. So
Mm.
yeah, man, it's one of them where I feel like it's pressure is even more intense now,
Do
100%.
you, do you think the League Cup victory then kind of clouded over a lot of stuff then?
I think it did. I think obviously, we win the cup, first cup in 6 years. He deserves his credit for that.
Yeah, you
But then
do.
I feel like from March we haven't played great football, and he hasn't rotated well. To get to that League Cup, he didn't rotate well enough for me. And obviously, I'm not going to discredit that League Cup. I thought it was amazing. I thought good
It's a
achievement for
trophy at the
him.
end of the day, man.
Yeah, it's a trophy. But then the tail off from that has been quite bad. We weren't playing great football. We weren't really doing anything. And I always look at this United team. I'm thinking it looks like a more of a cup team than an actual team. It looks more of a cup team to me. So that's
Mm.
where I feel like for me, it's like Ten Hag. Maybe his football is suited to the cups. Obviously, we got beat by Newcastle this, a couple
Newcastle
of weeks
reserves,
ago.
bro.
But yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to say.
So, well, to be
They
fair,
had
we
a
got
style of
smacked by
play that
West Ham. I can't even laugh.
yeah, 100%. Nah, I hear you, bro. So it's like the Premier League's your bread and butter, man. You got to be able to kind of make sure that's on point. And I feel like ultimately, the League Cup, it did mask a few problems, but at the same time, it was justified. But then now it's like you can't just win a League Cup and be like, oh, we've got a League Cup forever now. You know what I mean? Like,
It
don't
buys you a
don't
couple
don't
months,
criticize
but
me.
look where we are
Yeah,
now.
it buys you a couple of months. It buys you for a club like Man United. It should buy you a couple of months, and that's it. But now, we're talking about all of this time. I'm like, come on, man, you gotta fix up, bro. You gotta fix up. The ones there.
Facts. Do you think it's a culture shock then? Because you've gone from Ajax, where with the greatest of respect to Ajax, their players aren't really like, they ain't been there and done it. They're kind of at the elementary stage. You can kind of, what he's doing at Man United, you could probably get away with it at Ajax. And, player power isn't right
Yeah.
necessarily, but it's a thing. And you look at, you got Varane, you got Casemiro, you got Sancho, you've got guys that have been bought for big fees or fairly established. Do you think he's unable to kind of navigate that? And do you think he's potentially lost the dressing room?
You know what it is? Yeah, I always said with the dressing room, yeah, you can be also misguided and still have the dressing room. I feel like a lot of them are just misguiding it because they just kind of like don't know really what the plan is and how the
Mm.
manager really wants to play. I think the big one is Varane. Is it like man don't really cook up a fuss in it? He's one of them. Is a leader. He's a guy who just gets on with the job. He don't really moan. Never had issues at Real Madrid. He's been a calm and collected guy, and
Never heard
obviously
anything like
now,
this with Varane. Like, he's a man that if there's
no,
an
no,
issue, when you got friends where you hear they've had a madness or been in an issue, and it's like they're so good and well behaved that if they are, you immediately take their side. Like, well, someone did something wrong. That's how I feel as an outsider looking with Varane. So it's looking spooky, man.
yeah. So it's one of them where you cannot understand where he's coming from. But nah, with these lot, it's just one of them where I feel like for me, the manager can only, you know, the egos in the dressing room. It's not Ajax in it. Ajax, you kind of have young players. They know what you're kind of
Impressionable
doing. They don't
guys, yeah.
really, yeah, they don't really need to have an ego because it's like they're at Ajax in it. The ones there. So there
You're
isn't a
right.
need for an ego. But now it's like, the egos now coming up. The egos in the dressing room are bigger because they've won more stuff. Varane's won multiple trophies, so he's going to be
Seasoned
looking at
veteran,
thinking,
bro.
hold on a minute. Yeah, man, he's a seasoned veteran. Thinking, yo, brother, like, come on, man, you can't be talking to me like that.
Like, I've had Jose as
So
my gaffer. Who are you, sort of thing? Like, allow it, man.
yeah, like, yeah, man. So he's thinking, hold on a minute, you can't be like talking like that. So I feel like Ten Hag is very, very blunt. Dutch people are blunt. They just say it how it is, and that's why I say it's not about the message. It's about how you send it, innit, and
Exactly.
how you deliver it.
Ultimately, how you
Sancho's
convey it,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, it's how you convey it. Sancho has won. Casemiro, he talked about I needed to play good, I need to play football and stuff like that. I thought that wasn't needed for a player of his caliber. And then you got
I'm
Varane.
doing you a favor signing for you. Well, obviously with Casemiro, like to say you played for Man United and Real Madrid is two big things, and he's won a trophy. But where Man United are at the time, like he's doing you kind of a favor coming to you, lot, and you're kind of buying him. I'm like, raw, like, and for me, you know, with the Sancho thing, and I'd love to know your thoughts. I was like, cool, I always believe in life, bro. There's three sides to every story. There's what Ten Hag saying, Sancho, and the truth in it. And I'm always Sancho's man, them, so I'm gonna back him in it, but. When it's Sancho, when it's this guy, when it's that guy, when you hear rumblings around Rashford, it's like the common denominator seems to be Ten Hag. So if you're beefing everyone, you might be the problem, my brother. And you only need to lose 2-3 influential man and you're clipped, cuz. That is mad.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say, bro. It's like,
mad.
I feel like for me, Ten Hag it's very, very blunt. And I feel like ultimately the players are not really like, they don't really buy into it, man. You got me like, you got to be able to kind of say it to my face, innit? Don't be hearing it. Maybe the situation where they're hearing it from different people and whatnot, and you know, he's kind of saying tactics in the Sky Sports. I'm like, bro, like, come on, man. You can't be saying tactics in terms of Varane. And then all of a sudden, Varane looks like a guy who's not rated anymore, and he's getting his place taken away by Evans and Maguire. Like that, all of a sudden takes another kind of dimension. So you know, and he's just only doing that to prove a point for him to then say,
Can't
right,
your nose to spite your
Varane,
face, though, man.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you know what? Go come to the manager and cuddle him up and that. Nah, man. Varane's like, hold on a minute. Nah, mate. I ain't cuddling up to you. Yeah, why you
Like, who are you? What have you done in the game like that?
Yeah, like, bro, who are you, man? You get me? Like, so that's why he's kind of like doing that aspect. But I think ultimately there's so much going on now in football. Like, it's ridiculous, man. You know what I mean? And I feel like right now, players, I'm not in favor of player power, but at the same time, I'm in favor of having my best players available. You know what I mean? Like Varane is one
I
of
don't
them.
think no
Like
one could
he is for
agree
now.
with that.
Come on, man. He can't be saying no. Like there's a sell by date to these guys, Maguire and Evans. Like there's a ceiling. And when they lose against a game with 3-0, that would not happen maybe under Varane or whatever, whoever's in that game. Because he'd probably be a better, and he is a better box defender than he is a lot
There'll
here.
be a better
So like
performance, even if the result was the
there
same.
you go.
Like.
Even if the results, there'll be a better performance, and Varane would be a reason for the 3 goals to be chipped in. So yeah, man, it's serious, bro. You gotta be on this because I feel like for me, it's one of them where you know the manager can only do so much, and I feel like for me, you know, the players now they're at that kind of stage now. When it gets 18 months in, you're kind of like, oh, yo, who's really in charge now? Like this guy's just taking a mick here now. Like before it was
Ronaldo
military
tried to
style,
warn
but
guys,
now,
man.
hey,
Ronaldo tried to
what was
warn
that?
guys, bro.
Ronaldo did the thing with Ronaldo. I did back the Ronaldo situation with Ten Hag because I was like, okay, I don't really like players coming in an interview and do whatever. But maybe we missed what the part of what he said in terms of he didn't respect me. Do you remember what he said? He didn't respect.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I might be seeing something going
Hindsight,
on there
innit?
because hindsight, you know what I mean? But again, what he said, he didn't respect me. Maybe that's where I said about it's not about what you say, it's about how you say it. You get me? And that is something that's worth called
Facts.
respect. Ronaldo don't mind saying, yo, listen, you're getting on the bench and you know what? It's one of them. But if you then say, you know what I mean, it's not respect, then that's where it comes down to. You know the ones there.
So what are you saying for January then? Do you think Sancho and Varane are gone? Or one of the two or any of them?
Yeah. I think they're gone. Even Casemiro's gone. I think all 3 of them could go, man. I'll be real with you. I think they could all go. I don't think Varane wants to compete with this kind of situation right now. Yeah, Sancho will be definitely gone. He'll go alone. He hasn't played a
Surely that's
single
more of a
minute of
write-off though
football.
for your season though. If three key players, whatever, if they cut though, like
Yeah, you
that's
know what it
three,
is.
but you ain't got the biggest squads.
Yeah, we haven't got the biggest one. We don't. You know, that's the scariest thing about it. That's what a lot of people don't realize. We don't have a big squad, but at the same time, if we can somehow manage to bring some other people in, like Todibo, we could bring in maybe another forward instead of Sancho. Obviously, it depends on Amad Diallo. He may be back or whatnot, but there's a lot of things with the losing a defender like that, Varane. Like you're losing a leader as well. Casemiro, you're losing a
This is
leader
it.
in the midfield. All of a sudden, you're telling McTominay to galvanize the midfield. You tell him, bro, then it's spooky hours, and then it's the people of old. You know, when you need someone to kind of get everyone up. I remember
Facts.
Casemiro and Varane in games, yeah. bro, especially Varane when he was in there, because I'm on the East Stand, yeah, and he'd be telling the crowd to, get up. Maguire
Get
don't
with
do
it.
that. Yeah,
Because
Maguire
Maguire
don't do
don't
that.
want that. Maguire's just happy to be back here. He can't believe his luck. I have to respect him for getting back in the team, but it's a bit like what we do at Arsenal in that, not as extreme as you lot, but we put certain man in the team, and even to Maguire, they might be great for 3-4 games, but eventually they're gonna revert back to type. I always say football is romantic, but the Premier League is not romantic. There'll be 5-6 games, it's lit.
Yeah,
But when it's
yeah,
crunch time, boy, it gets spooky, man. It gets very
yeah.
spooky. It's so
It's
ugly,
like
it's beautiful,
Jorginho,
really.
maybe.
This is it. Even
Jorginho's another one.
Jorginho, like he's a
Yeah,
decent player, but I know with Jorginho, where Arsenal are concerned, he's gonna have good games. He might do well against City or Newcastle, but there's gonna be games like if you remember the North London derby, when there's bare space, you're in problems.
facts.
And I don't know how you look at it, but to a degree, it's like with us with Kai Havertz. Certain man, I don't look at the player no more. I look at as much as I like Arteta, you bought these man, you lot are playing them, you're putting them potentially in positions that
Facts.
of boots they can't fill. So it's like it's mad, isn't it, really? Especially if you're trying to do certain things. It's like these players can't take you forward, if I'm honest, man. So what? Sancho gone in January,
Facts.
Varane gone in January.
Yep,
Who else is there? Casemiro gone in January, potentially.
yep, yep. Casemiro got in January, and I think that'll be it. I think that'll
So how
be
long
it.
you give Ten Hag
I
then?
reckon. Well, listen, I don't know if he survives this December because no manager's been sacked yet. So if he decides,
Madness, isn't it?
I reckon we're going. I think we're going out in the Champions League. That's going to be happening, and then obviously it's a case of if he does well in this Christmas period, how far do we tail off? Because we've got Liverpool, got Everton, Chelsea, Newcastle away. So it
Scary
depends
games,
how. Yeah, scary games, bro. Scary games. So it depends how we tail off. If we tail off badly, then we might see some sort of kind of situation with the results. But ultimately, it comes down to the players in it and what they're gonna do. But they can't just keep going away with 1-0s and that, bro. They're gonna somehow find a way of becoming like a 1-1. Then it's 2-1 to them. You know what I mean? You're giving themselves a space to kind of just hurt you in it. So boy, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
As a neutral, it looks like you lot are winging it, man. Like you lot are playing this, and to us to a degree as well. But it looks like the same way, like the Man United Arsenal game, both teams could have won, lost, or drawn just like the year before and had no complaints. I still see that same Man United. Like, yeah, you might win or lose here, but you're kind of winging it. And I think Ten
Yeah,
Hag is far too naive. Like, it's obviously a tradesman can only do a good as job as the tools he's got. But if you're not maximizing them tools, like when I'm seeing Bruno out wide, when I'm seeing Maguire and Evans against City, when I'm seeing your midfield just mad open, you haven't really got runners in there. Like, obviously, no one can match City for technical ability, but off the ball, you can get close to City, really. When I'm not seeing any of this, for someone like Ten Hag, it's not like, you've just you just started your managerial career. You're a fairly seasoned veteran. It's just
yeah.
completely naive, if I'm completely honest. You mentioned Champions League. We can't have to talk about that. That's been a disastrous campaign. Like, is there any
No,
hope that you're
disaster.
getting out of that?
Well, we got to win the last 2 games. That's simple as that, and then hope for that Copenhagen don't get anything out of their games as well. So it's a big battle, man. The good thing only is that we beat Galatasaray. Bayern Munich are already through, so then they might kind of maybe kind of go, but they might want to kick us out because we're a so-called threat, maybe in that regards. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So I don't know. I
weakened
think for me
squads and that.
we're out low key because that was a game where we needed to win. You know what I mean? And we didn't do that. And ultimately, it's one of them where I think we've got no hope. I think it's done. I think ultimately Galatasaray, they'll be thinking as well. It's a final for them as well. Had it not been a situation where two teams thinking, you know what, they still got a chance, but everyone's got a chance, bro. Like, and this is where it gets sticky for all of us. Like, everyone's got a chance, and it's
You're
like
right.
it's gonna be a cup final for them. The Cauldron atmosphere, it's gonna be a
Is it in
madness,
Turkey?
bro. They're gonna be. Yeah, it's in Turkey as well. It's long. Yeah, it's long, bro. It's long. No, it's long, bro.
Boy,
It's long.
you
It's
know
long.
them Turkish fans, football's like a religion. Like, this is the thing. Like, when you're playing against 12 men, it's peak. It's like when we lost to Lens. Like, I think it was a bit of a culture shock. The European games are brazy. Bloody hell.
Yeah,
You lot
exactly.
got all to
So,
do, cuts.
bro, it ain't easy, bro. I'm telling you now, it ain't easy, bro.
Oh,
But we just
blood.
gotta just stick in there and just hope for the best, bro. You know that ones.
Obviously, you're not the decision maker, yeah. But as someone that wanted Ten Hag out, just humor me. If Ten Hag leaves tomorrow, who's the manager for you then?
I look at Amarin. I think Amarin's a good manager. Sporting
Sporting guy.
Lisbon. I like him. I like
Yeah.
I like his ideas. Still think Hansi Flick's got some sort of capability of doing something. Um, you know what? It depends on what style we're going for. Ultimately, I wouldn't mind if the footballing directors that came in through the door had a pick as well, because at the end of the day, it's one of them where if they can come in and find a suitable replacement based on their philosophy, I wouldn't mind that as well, because that means then we're gonna have players according to the style. Whereas
Yeah.
before, my man just bought, you know what I mean, wherever he kind of felt,
Just square
not
pegs
what
in
football
round holes.
structure. Yeah, exactly. You know, whereas this one here, it could be a different situation. So there is managers out there. Like I said, the thing is with me, people can say, "Oh, there's not many managers out there," but then it doesn't change the fact that I should then stick with a manager that I don't believe in. You know what I mean? So, two things can be right, man.
You're right.
Two things
Still.
can be right, bro.
You're
You
right,
know?
man, and that's
So,
something us Arsenal fans like to do. Or who would we get? And you're right. Who would we get? But it's not our jobs to make a decision. Naturally, if you're building a house and the tradesmen building your house are doing something wrong, you go and find another one. If you have to get the yellow pages or go on Google, it's down to you.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
you're
yeah,
you're,
yeah.
you're speaking facts on that, man. You're speaking facts. What was I going to ask you? I've almost lost my trail of thought. So what? How do you salvage this season? Like, what's the best case scenario? Do you still believe in top four? Like, is that how do you have a positive season, man? What's a good
I
season
think, I
with
think
what's there now?
thing is, yeah, top four was always going to be the aim, though. Like top four, top five, whatever it is nowadays. But the problem is, though, I feel like it's how you do top four as well. If you just get top
Mm.
four and then it's like you don't win a trophy, it's like a mad season, isn't it? You feel me? Like, let's be
I mean, the
honest.
Champions League is cool, but
Yeah, it's
apart from that,
cool,
you want it
but you know
more.
what I mean? Yeah, you wanted more. And I think next season it's going to be a similar situation. Like, what do we do next season? How do we go about it next season? Do we challenge now? We're in the third season now. We should be challenging. Like, you
Facts.
get me? Like, it's like I can't really like back my team fully because I know the incapabilities of the manager. I know his limitations, should I say, and that's where it comes down to. I know the capability,
Facts.
the limitation of him. So it's like, yeah. So this is where I'm like, I want to know how we get top five this season and what we do as well, what we do in certain games as well, big six games as well away from home. We've got 0 points out of 3 now so
That's
far.
unacceptable.
We've got obviously got a game coming up against Newcastle. They're classed as a top six. So hopefully we beat them. And then Chelsea's another one, classed as a top six. So if we can beat them two, then you kind of say, okay, cool. You can see something where you're going here. But I personally can't see it, man. I really, really can't see it, bro. So it ain't easy. It ain't easy,
It
bro.
ain't
It
easy
ain't
at all.
easy.
You're right. Like for all of Ten Hag's faults, I do think you have to look at the structure of the club. I think in relation to what Ten Hag can control, which is bringing in the players, style of play, how you deal with your players, all of these things that you've alluded to at the start. That's all
Yeah.
on Ten Hag. But I don't think Manchester United, you want to be the best off the field. I don't think you want to challenge City off the field, have the best facilities and all of that sort of stuff with your owners. So I do think whoever comes in to a degree, they have to perform miracles within that structure. I'm pretty sure I know how you feel about the Glazers and whatnot, but how do you feel about the Glazers?
Yeah.
What do you feel about this Jim Radcliffe stuff and all these changes that seem to be happening?
Boy. Well, basically, obviously, I wanted Qatar in it, but obviously that man
I
got
don't
shagged
blame
with
you.
that
I
one,
want Saudi money and Qatar
bro.
money and all them things at the Emirates, bro.
Bro, bro, I'm telling you, man, it's
That's
peak,
the
man.
way
When I
out the
heard the
hood, man.
devastation, yeah, it is, man. Fresh start, fresh everything. But obviously, Jim Rack is coming with a 25% proposal. He gets football in structure power, but ultimately, I've always said that's vague. It's
It is
grey
big.
area that you don't know how much kind of power he has. The Glazers, the reason why I just can't trust everything that's going on is that they've never put football at the forefront of their decisions, and it's always been about money. So all of a sudden, after 17 years, they change their mind and they say, right, we're going to now think about giving 25%, but then you man can have the football power. But if that football power don't result in commercial like things for the football club, then it doesn't make sense for their business kind of partnership.
Yeah, yeah.
So uh, at the end of every football decision for them, it's money in it, but that don't always equate to the same thing in it. You know what I mean? You might want to play the youth, and you might want to have a youth project, and the name might not be as glamorous and commercial as
They're not
playing
going to
players
sell as
like
many shirts
Ronaldo.
as bringing in Casemiro, Varane, Sancho, all of these things. Ronaldo, Pogba, etc.
Yeah,
You're right,
like
man.
saying no to a signing like a Casemiro, but then going for I don't know another signing. Would that kind of be like something that the Glazers would want? Like they need to sell shirts. Mason Mount, I think he sold a lot of shirts with that 7 shirt. So it's like they need certain signings
Chelsea
like that.
bumped
So
both our clubs for them Chelsea
yeah,
boys. Oh
bro,
my god.
them Chelsea boys, man, we'll get them back one day, man. One day we'll sell
Inshallah,
them
my
some
dude.
scrubs. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, I feel like for me, with all the owner situation, we kind of getting bored now because it's been a year now since they said they were going to sell the football club. In a year, nothing's really happened. So it's kind of almost like see it to believe it, really. You know what I mean? Right now, it's all just kind of like talking. The mid says before Thanksgiving. We're now past Thanksgiving. Now it's next week. Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. I didn't even know when Thanksgiving was. I was trying to find out the
Trust.
date for Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? So, yeah, bro, it's crazy, man.
Oh,
But like I said, man, I feel like for me, we just have to wait and see what happens. But ultimately, yeah, we're not always getting carried away. Yeah, we know where the football club's still at, man. I mean, it's still a shithole, man. The one's there, bro. So yeah, getting
sounds
carried
good,
away
man.
by this, tired up.
What do you like? Obviously, away from Ten Hag, like what's actually gone wrong with Rashford? Because I know he's someone that's heavily
Yeah,
criticized on and off the field. Not even to do with Man United fans. He's a man that gets criticized for helping kids have free school meals and stuff like that. But to have
yeah,
one goal, like I've never been convinced with Rashford's decision making, even when he's had a healthy goal return. He doesn't look like his footballing IQ's improved. But as long as he's scoring, it's all right. But I was on Rancy's stream and he said at the time, I think it was 2 weeks ago or something, he said Rashford had one goal. I thought he was capping. I thought he was slandering him. And then I went and saw, and like you said, it was
yeah.
against Arsenal. What's gone wrong for Marcus Rashford? Like one goal is unacceptable, especially
No,
the Euro year as well.
that's what I'm saying. Euro year, I feel like it just overall it's been poor. I've never rated him. If I'm being honest with you, I've only given him credit where it's due because I feel like it's justified for last year. That he needed his credit, but I never rated him as a footballer. You know what I mean? He's for me, he's in decision making, like you said. He's just for me at low IQ, low. Just his overall game isn't great. Take away his goals and listen for a forward that is their bread and butter, goals and assists. But his overall game, he can never seem to have a good game without scoring or whatever. Like he's just so head
Just his general
down.
play
I
over
don't know what
90
I'm
minutes
doing.
ain't there.
Yeah, yeah, man. His overall game one night it's not there. It's just he's so lackadaisical. He's so kind of like it's tiring, bro. I'll be real with you, man. It's very, very much tiring at the age of 26 to be seeing inconsistent performances. Right now, we need to be at a time where we need to be seeing better performances, better value for money, and we're not
You're
seeing
right.
that. And that's something that the manager is still figuring out. I think it's been too loyal to him for some reason. Again, I get he's a face of the football club. He's Mr. Manchester United, so I get it,
Is that why he
but
shook?
yeah, of course, man. He's got the biggest kind of PR team. He's got what I mean. You don't want to be going against Rashford. You go against Rashford, all of a sudden Man United get onto you because they're
Yeah,
like
you have to
shit.
make sure you win that battle if you go against him.
Yeah, you win that battle. He's backbone and bread. He's what I mean, someone that
Facts.
the club love and admire. So you've got to be able to kind of help him out in that aspect. So yeah, man, it's just one of them for me where I look at it, and I'm like, you know what? It's very, very sticky for him because he's not improving. Like his overall game over the years has not. You can't get better at the age of 26. You can't.
Yeah,
So
there's not going to be a dramatic improvement. If you ain't got IQ now, then you just have to accept he's a high volume guy. If he ain't scoring, he ain't doing much sort of thing. You're
yeah,
bang on the money.
exactly. So that's why I'm like, you know what? I'm just kind of like, but he signed a new contract now, so I can't even really complain. You know what I mean? So the fact that he signed a new contract now, I can't really say much. So we just gotta hope that his form gets better. That's the only thing that we can always say with Rashford. He's a confidence player. That's what he is. Confidence player, bro. So
Facts.
well, we'll find out when his next purple patches. You know what I mean? Like
You don't
yeah,
sound
it's true,
optimistic
bro.
at all, blood.
Yeah, it's whenever he turns up in it, then we just praise it on isolation. Like that's what Rashford is. You can't really praise his overall game because it isn't there. Like you can't say Rashford's going to turn up for the next 5 or 10 games. Like you know what he's about in it. You know what his game is. You don't know. You just have to say, "Oh, Rashford looks up for it today." That's what everyone says in the ground. Rashford looks ready today. He
Bro,
looks up for it. He looks up for it, and then you kind of know, like, right, he's gonna have a good game. But then everyone's like, "Oh no, he's got his head down." That means he's having a bad game. It's like it's so contrast. You know what I mean? His performance is mad.
you're speaking facts. And I actually like Rashford's a player, it's a bit like Sterling. Like the man that will always back him in it because we all know what happens with Rashford. But to be fair to Ten Hag, Ten Hag might not be doing the job, but you've been at Ajax, Oli, I'm not looking at Oli, the manager, just off the basis of Oli being a decent striker. Rashford's been surrounded by him. You've been around Ronaldo, Pogba, all of these sort of guys. So I don't doubt that Rashford's trying to improve, but the fact that there's no significant improvement in your footballing IQ, I think that speaks volumes for Rashford. What do you make of Antony? And are you, man, still rating Antony and Sancho over my
Bro, listen, man, he was meant to be there, but he's off now. He's off that wall there, man. You get me? So Antony's the worst signing that's ever come to the football club, man. Like the worst signing ever. Yeah, easily. Like for the money, for the height, expectation, everything. The worst signing we've ever bought, bro. Like the worst signing.
Are you sure?
Yeah, yeah, 100%, bro. He's definitely.
You know what?
He
might be up there for the money and expectation. And the fact that you were Dutch league, Ten Hag, he knows that league. I did think Antony would be a lot better.
Nah, bro, he ain't even Brazilian, bro. He's another nationality. Him, Rafinha, all these guys, man, they're not Brazilians, man. I'm telling you, the next generation of Brazilians is peak for them, man.
Yeah, they're booky. I can't lie.
Scary hours, man. Scary hours for these Brazilians.
Bro, it's proper scary hours, man.
From Ronaldinho to this, from Rivaldo to this, crazy.
Neymar was the last one, really.
Yeah, they go to Europe too soon, man. That's what I think. That's the issue. They go to Europe too soon, and then they lose all their game, their kind of like flair and everything, and just what they are. They go to Europe very, very pragmatic, very, very system based and everything
these days than individuality as well.
Yeah, the lack of individuality is just it's hurting. Whereas in Brazil, if he kept there and stayed there till maybe like 23, then came to Europe,
like
then
Neymar,
that would have been a little bit better, but. Obviously, the money, man, it's life changing money in it. Moving to England, Europe. So yeah.
What do you make of, obviously moving on from Man United? What do you make of Ramsdale versus Raya as a non-Arsenal fan?
I think for me personally, they're probably both the same level. If I'm being honest with you, like they're both the same level. Yeah. They're both the same level. You know what I mean? I feel like for me, I look at I just got some breaking news. Mason Mount has picked up an injury.
Damn.
Wow. Damn. Crazy. Won't be available.
Talk about kicking a man while he's down, live on air. Like,
wow, man. That's crazy.
Oh, that's right. We couldn't have picked a better time to record this. This is lit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, that's another thing that we've done badly in that kind of regards. Wow. But yeah, other than that, you know what I mean? It's one of them where, it's peak for us, man. I feel like with Ryan Ramsey, they're both at the same level. The Ramsey situation is like, I don't personally get him. Like, I don't know what he wants to be. Like, he's almost like one of them kind of guys that wants to be part of the sidemen crew and that, and like be this kind of joyful kind of guy, but then still want to keep his like goalkeeping. Whereas Ryan just wants to be a keeper. Ramsey, I don't know, man. He's the new modern day. I feel like these players now have got to shift away from being fanboys of like the sidemen and that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I don't know. He's just not concentrating on football. Like Ben White was another way saying I don't really talk about football, which is fair enough. I don't want to watch football, but then he did. I don't think he had to mention that for me.
You don't convey yourself well. You're right, because that's what a couple of us Arsenal men have done.
Yeah, like I feel like I think you guys have just spoke too much. Jesus, like, I think for me, I don't think what he said was mad. Yeah, like it was a bit overblown. I think I jumped on it too much, too soon. But man, just don't say that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like
too honest, didn't
it? Yeah, too honest, maybe too honest isn't great. But I don't think Raya's that great. I'll be honest with you. I don't think he's I still think you're gonna definitely buy a better keeper than both of them soon. But then again, apart from Alisson and Edison, maybe who's a good keeper like that? People rely on Nick Pope, but then again, he's not great with his feet. So it's like, what is there really, bro? And I feel like that it comes down to like the goalkeeping kind of debate. Like, what is the goalkeeping debate all about? Like, what is it? What are we? Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, what is it?
That's why I think you made a massive comment there, because I don't think, like you said, I don't think Benjamin White was wrong for what he said. I don't think when you read what Jesus said, he was wrong. When Zinchenko talks about his lack of defending, or Ramsdale says he can't concentrate, I don't think he's wrong. I just get the vibe with Ramsdale, a bit like you in that. I do think he's professional in that, but it's almost like somebody, as much as I like Ramsdale, it's like somebody's won the opportunity to be at Arsenal in a lucky dip sort of thing, really. Because like you said, anytime to talk, he talks. I do like the honesty. And to be honest, where Gabriel Jesus is concerned, us Arsenal fans have been saying you don't like to score, so it shows he's self-aware. So I don't really get that he's saying what we're all saying as Arsenal fans. We're kind of going overboard. I agree with your point about Ramsdale and Raya, because that's what I was saying. I like both of them. I don't really care who wins it. I think you're in the same bracket. But if that new Alisson came on the scene, then if we did have the money, I don't know which one would leave. But if you could just upgrade, I'm all for that, man. But it's great to get your opinions. Before I let you get out of here, yeah, I've got 3 questions that I asked my supporters, yeah, and I just want to get your thoughts. The first one, big up Jing. He said, thoughts on England's last 2 games. This is for you, by the way. Thoughts on England's last 2 games and whether Southgate should be allowed to manage the Euros in the summer.
Dead, bro, dead. I still think we'll do well in the Euros, but I think we'll fall short again because he'll play a back 5 in the quarterfinals, and then we'll pragmatic. So yeah, dead. Like I don't rate Southgate at all. This should be his last tournament. But yeah, we'll do enough to get to the quarters, semis, and then he'll do something crazy, and then we'll get found out, and that will be because of his pragmatism, basically. So yeah, I don't rate him at all.
I think you're bang on the money. Do you know what, though? As much as I don't think Southgate's the guy, yeah, and I do think, I'm not going to say England should have won the Euros or World Cup, but once you got to that point where you could kind of smell that you could win it, you should get over the line. But when I deep it, if we don't expect England to win a World Cup and the Euros, what more could Southgate do? I don't think he's the guy, but I slightly think this is, in my 28 years, bro, slightly, this has been the best I've seen England. And, definitely better than the golden generation.
But then it's like now you're kind of like, once you go so far, you know what I mean? You hit your ceiling, isn't it? You get
it's like getting with a girl and not completing the mission, isn't it? Really, it's
there.
Dead.
You go, exactly. What are you there for, bro? What
Literally.
are you there for? You know what I mean? So it's crazy.
You're bang on the money, man. Next question. This is where it gets interesting. How many United players get into Arsenal starting 11 and ask him if he still thinks Rashford's better than Martinelli? Nah.
Listen, Martinelli right now is better than Rashford. Martinelli is better than Rashford right now. Obviously, last year, the thing is, that's what I'm saying. With these kind of players, it's just based on form. I think Martinelli's still raw, man. I still think he's still got levels to go up to. You know what I mean?
100%.
So I think still, for me, Martinelli right now is better than Rashford, 100%. His overall game's got better. I would take Martinelli over Rashford right now. But again, with these kind of players, it's still, I think, for me, relative to form, like, you know what I mean? Another, like last year, we all said Rashford.
And speak for yourself, boy. It's been my start, boy.
Okay, say less.
No, man. I just think Martinelli's IQ is better than Rashford's. As much as Martinelli's frustrated, I like Rashford though. I'll have him at Arsenal. If you know we're dumb enough to sell Rashford, I'll take him. I still think he's frustrating, but I'll take him at Arsenal. I'm just disappointed with Rashford because I did think he'd become a striker, and then I remember Jose Mourinho's comments a few years ago, kind of that Rashford ain't a striker, and that made my brain start working. In that, if Rashford, like if Rashford ain't a striker now, he'll never be doing that. He can do a job, but how many United players do you get in Arsenal starting 11 then?
How many United players getting Arsenal starting 11 right now?
Obviously, we know peak powers and whatnot. Varane and Casemiro, probably not them two right now.
I think Lisandro gets in of Gabriel.
Raji, maybe Zinchenko, like Arteta wanted to use him at left back. I don't know.
Luke Shaw for Zinchenko.
Nachi. What do you Luke Shaw think?
I'm trying to think now. It depends again. It's just relative to form. I think Casemiro gets ahead of.
Casemiro can play for us right now. How about
Casemiro can still play for you lot. Bruno Fernandes. I don't think because of the way you play. I'm
having Lisandro.
That's probably it, man. I'll be real with you, man. It's one of them where
you know what? I'll take Martinez just for the squad. I'll take Martinez, Højlund, just because I like Rashford.
Højlund as well. Yeah,
I like Højlund, man. I just think every attacker you lot buy is not gonna thrive because you're not trying to be serious right now.
Yeah. Just shows you how far we've fallen, man. I think Varane.
Keep your goalie though.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. That just shows you, man. When you're not confident about the manager, you're not confident about your team. That's the thing, man.
Yeah, man. I've never seen you distressed, like you actually have every question I've asked you, you've been deep in it, and there's not been you ain't cracked a smile, bro.
Because you know what it is? It's one of them where because we've not hit the potential of our team, that's where it's kind of like, well, one goal out of our front three. You know what I mean? Certain goals. Last year, it was something that you had to build on. We haven't built on it now. So everything that you did last year, kind of like, you kind of like looking at it thinking,
like 10 steps backwards.
You know what I mean? You've just gone so many steps backwards. You know what I mean? So, it's peak, bro. It's peak.
before this therapy session's over, last question, and we kind of spoke about Thanksgiving. Somebody big up J.R. Smith. They said favorite Thanksgiving meal. I don't think that's an English thing, so I can't say I participate in that. But yeah, what about yourself?
Yeah, I don't pass it, but I don't know, man. I'll say chicken and you know what I mean. Don't know, yeah. Some
Yeah,
big
rice
chicken.
and
That's
chicken,
what
or I swear it's turkey
rice
they
and
eat or
chicken, yeah.
something.
Rice and chicken or some stew or something like that, you know what I mean? I'll probably
Yeah,
say
like
that, you know.
I don't
Yeah,
I
man.
don't do the Thanksgiving thing, but shout out the Americans because I don't that's not an English thing,
Yeah,
innit?
man.
But shout out the
Big
American
up
viewers
to you,
then.
man. Doing your thing and that, you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Come on.
Big up to you, man.
Last question before I let you get out of here, yeah. Let people know where they can find you, any content to come out. Can't imagine they don't know who you are, but nonetheless, plug your stuff, my
Yeah,
guy.
man. Nah, big up to your channel. Big up to you. You get me? Big up to
Appreciate
you,
that.
man. Obviously, salutations and whatnot to you. And yeah, like I said, make sure you check out my channel, Saeed TV. And yeah, just come follow me. I do mostly generic content. So yeah, you'll find me on there, man. Big up to you.
Yeah, bro. Like the man Saeed said, you know, he does obviously he's a Man United fan, primarily Man United comment. But if you are subscribed to him, he's been, you know, there's been Arsenal fans on his channel, so on and so forth. General Premier League content. So yeah, check out the guy, subscribe to the channels, hit the like button, turn on your notification bells. Saeed, I appreciate you for being here. Let me let you get
Big
out of
up,
here, my
bro.
guy. I know you got another stream.
Come on, man.
Come on,
Yeah,
my
man.
guy.
Love, bro. Appreciate it, man. Love,
Come
bro.
on, my dude.
Big up, man.
Say, people, hit the like button. We're out.
There's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like.